It's Virgo season, and we're talking how to feel so fresh and so clean, energetically.
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 Ener-
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. We're leading out loud.
Welcome to Eating Out Loud. Welcome to Eating Out Loud, the spiritual ship show that's sacred and spicy. I'm psychic astrologer Christopher Witecki, facilitating serious joy.
And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium with a mentor with ScottCruzPM.com. Yeah, I mean, I was eating out loud a lot. I was getting up to like 200 pounds, so I lost 11 pounds. Like, I don't know what the hell I was doing.
I always eat out loud. I'm noisy. I make noises. I grunt. Yeah, it's Virgo season, man. It is Virgo season. Today's actually the Grandmaster Step 11 day of Virgo. And I think we move to Step 12 soon. I don't know, in a minute now. But 11 is actually, like 11-11. That's Virgo. Virgo's 11. 11-11 is two Virgos standing next to each other. That's what 11-11 is. Two Virgos, which are actually four Leos, okay? Because one is actually a Leo. So 11 is all about it being all in line, everything alignment, the idea of healing and health and coming into alignment. So when we go into Virgo, anything that's out of alignment, meaning out of line with our heart, is revealed in a very obnoxious way. As Virgos tend to do, point out, when things are offline or not in alignment. Virgos will be very very, very forthright about that, right? So have you been feeling things out of alignment, bro, or?
Well, I was sick I had a sinus infection, so I was like purging like hell. But I feel I needed it's the kick in the ass to be like chill out, breathe, even though I couldn't. So it definitely was a big message for me. So and I was putting things into alignment. Being a Virgo rising, I was like, well, if I need to slow on down, which way can I devote my time and energy? And so so it kind of was helping me actually to slow down and redirect what's really most important. I was getting wrapped up in trying to deliver on things too much, and I'm like, I want to go back into my heart and go back into what's important for me. So yeah, I had that introspection the past couple of weeks.
Which is why we were off the air. But he was sick, you guys. He sounded really bad. Much worse than he sounds now. Good acting, good skills. But yeah, it was tough. But that's the Virgo. In fact, a lot of bodies are taking a hit this season because we cleared so much karma. In other words, we closed so many stories, so many loops, come full circle on so much of our stuff that we were born with. That the body is literally littered with, I think, the old storylines. And so most of my clients have had at least one reboot or another, where they've had to, sick, flu, or sometimes broken bones, sometimes accidents, something that makes you sit down and think about your life. You're stuck in a chair thinking about your life all day. So I'm definitely seeing that. And that's a big part of this Virgo season. We also have a hell of an eclipse season this Virgo season too. We can talk about that. We had a new moon. A new moon last couple weeks ago, 0 degrees Virgo. That's 0, the very first step number of Virgo. We have a full moon lunar eclipse this Sunday at 15 Pisces. So we get, that's a karate chop right in the middle of Pisces, okay? And that means that the Virgo side of that gets bigger because it's no longer pulled into the shadow of the moon. And then we have, on September 7th, is that right? Yeah, no, actually, next one, we have another new moon at 29 degrees Virgo. So the 1st, the 15th, and the 29th. That is exactly the whole spectrum of Virgo. And that tells me that we're going to get a new Virgo. So kiss your local Virgo, they're going somewhere else.
It's it's interesting that I kind of been saying that psychically that this is a new shift for Virgo energy. I've been saying it's really to time where those who are Virgos, like me, Virgo rising, really using their true voice, really allowing themselves to lead with their voice and being influential in that way and being understood. Because a lot of times Virgos aren't quite understood in a sense. I feel like there's going to be more of that understanding to where Virgos can be more a participant in leadership and whatever, dynamic that might be. So I definitely feel a shift with the Virgoian energy, so to speak. And, being a Virgo rising, that's a huge counterpart. I'm equally split with my Aqua and Virgo. I'm just as Aries as I am freaking neurotic. And so, but I've been seeing a lot of different changes in how I'm processing those thoughts. So yeah, it's gonna be a huge shift. So I think even us collectively in Virgo season are gonna feel a lot of those changes too of being heard in our own way.
100%. I think Virgos actually are, Virgo's consciousness has Aquarius energy in their sixth house, which is their daily life. So Virgos are supposed to live the age of Aquarius. And what's interesting is, they've been clearing out with all this Pisces, Saturn, and Neptune in Pisces. They have been clearing out their karma with people and relationships. And I have to say, Virgos have, usually been a lot of high maintenance, as far as I'm concerned. Like, just I got to have a lot of attention for them. I got to be there and give them my entire mind. I can't give them a fraction of it. They demand all of it. But I've seen Virgos completely come in this new blossom, this new blooming. Like they are now like, what's the, Indian goddess that has like 100 hands? They're just constantly, fixing things, doing things. They don't seem to be, upset emotionally about not getting what they, being appreciated or anything. They know that they're original and they don't need you to tell them they're doing good anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I've told them like, you're doing a great job or whatever. To a Virgo, like, I know. I was like, what the fuck? What did I talk to? There was a Virgo that just said that too. They said they needed a compliment. Not that they wanted compliments, but they wanted to know they're okay. So yeah, I've seen the Virgo change, man. You can see the change.
But the downside for some Virgos is they might push it too far and get overly confident and arrogant and aggressive. So there's a fine line too that I think those Virgos have to kind of like really, because once they start getting that recognition, that validation, attention, some might become overly arrogant about it. So we have to kind of find the balance of that too. And a friend of mine's a Virgo, and she's going off the deep end with her arrogance.
I was like, I think it depends on the Virgo, of course. Excuse me.
Always.
But, I've seen like for Capricorns, I see them up to their old tricks. So they, I've caught many Capricorns like trying to get, slip 2 coupons in instead of 1. Like I'm like, what are you doing? Did Pluto not teach you something? So I don't know. The Caps, I don't know. I'm jury's out on the Caps, but and Cancers too. Love my Cancers, but a lot of them are still like they're gonna. They keep telling me they're gonna. Okay, well it's been 5 years. So Cancer, Capricorn. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm sorry to say a big change, but Virgos, yes. Virgos and Pisces too. Pisces are finally sober, and they are, aware and cool and chill and no longer like mysterious, kind of present in the room, like they've really come online too. But the thing is, Pisces have Pisces have Leo in the 6th house, right? Which is love. And Aquarius have Virgos have Aquarius in the 6th house, which is Age of Aquarius. So really, Virgo and Pisces, they're kind of the most responsible for bringing forth the Age of Aquarius.
Makes sense.
More than the Aquarians are.
Yeah. Just in kind of little defensive Caps too. I've been seeing them, a lot of them just anticipating change, but things are forcing them to change. So I feel like might be a little stubborn about what's going on a little bit, and so they need to be more open to what they need to let go of and start anew. So I feel like a lot of Caps are kind of on the precipice of that. But like you said before, they're still trying to get away with the old shit, and the free passes instead of just like jumping on in and say, I'm going to fucking do it. And so I see that cross board with the Caps in my life too. And I'm like, you guys are so freaking have so much to offer. And so, but it's
don't budge. Don't budge. I mean, a goat can say like run on the edge of a mountain, like just hang off and not fall. And so I think Capricorns are like, hey, until the new industry is very clear, I'm staying on this mountain that I know. Right. So they are ultimately, so I'm like, so what you get into in the new age? Oh, banking this. I'm like, isn't that the old Capricorn age? Like they haven't quite gotten into like, solar yet or whatever. Like, but I think they're going to end up because they have Aquarius in their 2nd house, which means Capricorns are supposed to make money from the Age of Aquarius. But it's so early on with Pluto.
It's funny you say that because my collective reason I've been doing per sign, I was saying it's time for Caps to start making their money now and making their financial wealth and so forth. So it's funny you said that because I've been saying that when I was predicting for 2025 about Caps, about them coming to their financial well-being finally. So it's interesting you said that. I agree.
We should probably hit all the signs now that we've touched upon, like 4 of them, but like. So Tauruses are, their Age of Aquarius is in their career. So Tauruses are going to have Age of Aquarius careers, and they're going to, build new things of light. Which hello, I'm already there. I was there 10 years ago, but still Jupiter in Aquarius. That's why Scorpios are going to build an Aquarian home. I don't know what the fuck that means. Maybe they're moving out of the den into a crystal palace. Maybe they're finally going to be like eagle perched crystal palaces.
Yeah,
they're moving out of the hole. There was a hole in the ground. Now they're going to be like crystal on the ground. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because funny because with Scorpios, I felt like a resituation. And a refoundation. So probably like finding the new essence of environment. I feel it with Scorps, and really finding like where they really do belong in that sense when it comes to like you said, home life, environmental stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt that too with Scorpios.
Mm-hmm. What about Tauruses?
Y'all crazy. No, okay. Y'all think everybody else's sign is crazy, but y'all crazy. No,
I'm gonna
no.
charge red, brother.
I think there's a lot of shifting, and another one of my close friends is Taurus as well, and so I like to see the similar patterns within my friends, but. I just feel more grounding with Taurus energy, and there's got to be a lot of chaos, the bull in the china shop energy, in order for the Taurusarians to find the true grounding nature, and then solidifying that, and then sustaining it. So I think prior to the first half of 2025, the Taurusarian energy has been very chaotic, fragmented, right? The bull in the china shop in their own lives, and now I feel like moving forward, the Taurusarians will start situating themselves in their own real unique foundation now and owning it and sustaining it. So, so your shifts and changes and fragmentations have been, just as part of the process of that. You know what I mean?
I mean, they've been. I mean, the cool thing is I've had pretty much the same plan my whole life, but I am having tons of new ideas pour in, and a lot of creativity pouring in, and so career. It's all about career, and so I'm kind of going to feel like, oh, everything I've done is like actually just a warm up, because the stuff I want to do is still ahead of me. Well, let's talk about other signs. How about what should we talk about? Sagittariuses. So Sagittariuses, they will have Aquarius energy pour out through their mind. So Sagittarius are spewing out intellectual Aquarius energy, whereas Geminis are spewing out belief structures. So Geminis and Sagittarius actually flip on that particular sign and flip roles. And so in the opposite Bizarro world, Geminis have theories and Sagittarius keep talking. In Age of Aquarius. Now, I haven't seen this so much in the Sages, except I've seen them finally get out of their own thinking. Like they're finally like, oh, finally, I thought that gag would never end. Like Sages will go on forever with a gag, so I've seen them change that way, but I haven't seen them change, like let go of certain things. And so I haven't seen that. Now, Geminis believing in themselves. I haven't seen Geminis believing in themselves on a whole new level either. So I have to say, so far, Geminis and Sages are not showing a lot of aqua movement, I would say.
Well, I always split Geminis with male and female because it's totally different beasts. So that's the one sign I feel like is different. I feel Gemini females are finding their new creative expressions, and I feel like they're finding the new direction and diving in. Gemini males, I just still feel like a lackluster energy, kind of head in the sand energy, and with the Sages, I feel a quest for foundation. And they're not quite getting it right. And they might try to find different ways of finding that foundation for themselves, but they may not get it right. But I feel like there's a quest for that. So there's a lot of the learning curve of committal energy, wanting to commit to something or sustain something that's going to commit to their own foundation. It could be within their work and, their home environment, their hub in a sense. And so I'm feeling they're wanting to like commit in that sort of way, in time. But I just feel like there's a brewing of that circulating.
Tell me the female Geminis. Right?
Well, that's sad. That was general. Gotcha. The female Geminis, I feel like they're pursuing a creative aspect or endeavor, or finding a new purpose and sticking with it. And Gemini men seem to be like their head's still a little bit in the clouds, a little bit. They're still kind of going with the flow. They're kind of in this like daydreaming aspect of nature, not confronting things, but and so I just think they'll catch up in time. But that's kind of how I see that. Them split.
No, they'll be like, and I'm New Age. You're like, wait a second, you were New Age yesterday. Well, I am now. The Gemini men want credit for it. Like, no, dude, you've been not talking this way. You're getting instant credit, because you change your mind. How about the Leos and Aquariuses? We haven't talked about them specifically, I guess. I mean, we talked about Aqua a little bit. We didn't dip into Leo so much.
Well, being two fixed signs, right? So I was saying in 2024 in my reads, I've been saying that Aquas and Leos switch. And, kind of like Aquas take the torch, Leos take this more of the passive supportive role, but more focused on house, home, and relationships, and companionship in that sense. Companionship doesn't just mean love. It could be friendships and all that stuff, and home and family. So I feel a huge switching of that. And, with the Aqua energy, we kind of naturally lead. We don't like to have to focus on leading. That's a problem for us, but that's what we're still trying to learn. And so many times I just want to like run offline. Like I'm so sick of putting myself online. Like I just want to shut it down, but because it's so unnatural to me. But my spirit guys are always like, you got to go, be okay, with that. And so it's difficult for me, actually, I would say, because I love doing what I do, but having to focus on to do it, to lead intentionally is like, feels like, egomania to us. We just kind of just want to do it naturally on our own timing. But I think it's teaching us to be more, proactive in that sense. And I feel the Leos are just focusing more on the heart in that sense, in their relationships. So there's big flipping of that.
I think, well, interesting.
And community.
Well, Aquas, I think here have been spending too much time hiding out in the dark ages. Like you guys just got a little too comfy in your Merlin caves and you're being all alone. And the truth is, you're just a little PTSD about getting out in public again and being in front. So I think that's part of it. I know we couldn't shut your mouth in, back in Atlantis, right? Kind of thing. And the Leos have been just all like partied out, and they are like now ready to like actually have a higher vibration. They're like the Aquas. They want to go higher in vibration. Like Leos are like, they want higher quality. So what they want higher love, higher quality, more refined, and so I'm seeing the Leos going higher in luxury and rare, preciousness, and really find and being okay, only having one pair at that, that brand or whatever, like they're okay with that kind of thing. Whereas the old Leo will be like, what in every color, you know what I mean? Like, and a swatch to match, it's like, okay. But so I'm seeing those two. I do see Leos humbling a lot. Like they are super humble now. Like they are just,
but
they're
I find a lot
smile like crazy.
Yeah, but I find them a lot like really focusing on the interactions with people, community, and not so much about I got to be the shit in this picture. I got to control and lead, and they're kind of like, I want to be more in that collective energy, that humanitarian energy. So yeah, it's pretty awesome to see, and I think now that also allows Aquas and Leos to understand each other a lot better now too. And so I think it's a wonderful shift in that regard. And I'm seeing that with my Leo friends and those from afar. I've been noticing a lot of that too with my Aqua friends, and I think it's actually beautiful to see. Actually, in my opinion,
I think so too. It's really nice to see. I'm seeing Leo settle down. I'm seeing Leos, stick to one lover, all kinds of stuff like that.
Same with Aquas. And when Aquas are settling down too, isn't that weird?
Yeah, but Aquas were officially never whoring around. They just were never seen. Like you poof, you appear in a bedroom and poof, you appear out. You weren't really actually seen walking in the building. Then we have, let's see, so we hit everyone with Aquas. Who we miss here? Cancer.
We had Cancer, Sag,
Virgo. We did. Did we
Libra? We didn't do Libra. We did Libra and Aries.
Libra Aries, yeah. Okay, go ahead. You go first. What about Librans?
I mean, with I find a lot of Libras beside themselves in a sense. They're hearing both components, and it's a struggle for them because they're like, I feel this and I feel this too, and I feel both. So they're going to have a lot of course, balance, not to sound cliche with Libras, but they're going to have to really be balanced that yin to the yang, because I feel like they're going to hear both aspects very loudly and feel it very loudly. And that's going to cause them to be beside themselves. But I think they have to understand how to neutralize at this time and understand it doesn't have to be yin or yang. It could be actually a neutral position. So there's a lot of change with Libras, but it's going to be more about their intellectual, neutrality and things that they're going to have to learn. And with Aries, I feel I've been feeling a lot of this with Aries for a while, them having a lot of regret. And, almost like double tracking their past about what they did or didn't do and having regret about, I should have made that decision. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of that left out energy with Aries, but at the same time, it's going to allow them to fuel them into a newer direction. Again, career, relationship, whatever the case is. So I feel like a lot of their regrets should be fueling them for that next change with Aries.
Interesting. Aries, I would say Aries in the age of Aries, the same Aries in the age of Taurus. Like the Taurus, Aries. I mean, we went the age of, and they go backwards, don't they? But the point is that Aries have been the same for a long time. They've been like the warriors, the heavy lifters, the pushers. They push people, right? And I think what's interesting is they have Aquarius in their house of society, so they are supposed to make society. They're like the icon citizen in the new age. What? Right? And I actually feel that they're probably going to become, I predict they're going to become like a hybrid where they'll be like the first ones to go on the teleporter machine and experience their atoms being dissolved and put back together, like on Star Trek. They'll like to be the first ones to try that shit. And so they'll end up being like the heroes of the new era because they, like Buck Rogers, like we're willing to do it. Like we're all like, fuck that. I ain't taking that, that shot that's going to make me age or not age or whatever. Like you try it, Aries, see if it works, So I see Aries reinventing themselves. They're calmer. They're more calculating. I think is what's going on. That Uranus and their Gemini is like they're really starting to get. here's the thing. I mean, Aries, if Aries isn't intelligent, they're intelligent enough to use AI. So like they're going to always get with that competitive edge.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of tools out there for them to have the competitive edge. So, they're going to win in a new era way. I really think they're going to win in a new era. And actually they haven't ever won. They've been first, but then usually just qualified for something. You know what I mean?
And they did just, yeah, and I just want to add to that. I think that's why again they were feeling this sense of regret or sense of I should have, could have type of energy, because I feel like right now currently they're feeling like kind of a little bit of woe is me energy, but that's going to propel them to say, God damn it, I'm going ahead, right? So that's going to be the fuel for everything you just said, 100%.
Totally, I feel so too, and they're actually kind of, with Chiron in their sign, they no longer they're healing their ego. So the problem with the ego is like the ego, when it gets damaged, it will not quit until it proves itself. Until it proves itself. And so when you have Chiron in Aries, which is Gen X, we all had, mess ups in our past lives. And so the reason why I think we're called X is because you guys think we're doing nothing. We're not. We're obsessing to get it right, actually. Obsessing because of our Chiron. But then once we glide and we get smooth at it, we're like, okay, I got this. Then, watch out. The X's take over. I think Aries are the same way. I think that as soon as they get smooth, the new version of them, they're going to totally be watch out. And because they're hot and they're intense, they're going to there'll be a wave of just popular Aries. Aries will win all the girls, so to speak, in that, classic male, female, Mars, Venus kind of thing.
Right.
Aries will win all the girls or whatever. Now Librans, however, yes, a big question mark. Here's why. Because Aquarius for them is the house of love. And the thing is that Aquarius is nowadays, these old school Librans, these old school Librans, they sort of like were designed to like plug and play into anything, right? So, I can get along with you, and I can talk to you, and I can talk to you, and I can talk to you. But if they've got Aquarius in the house of love, it's really like this, only you. Like Aquarius in the house of love means there's like a couple matches, and the current Libra is now like plugging into everything. So I think they have a big arc of like change of love, that they're going to shift to be like one and only kind of thing instead of one, and if not, then this one. You know what I mean? Like if I said like the backup person or whatever. I think they have a lot of change in that regard. But they're also really mailing up. They're getting more aggro for themselves. Instead of passive aggro, they're being more direct, I think. So, we're seeing a new Libra come out in that regard.
Yeah, right. Because I think they're it's like this sick of tired of trying to negotiate this left and right. It's like, let me find my own neutrality, my own center. And I think that's where they really own it. And again, right, currently, like the first half of 2025 has been very maybe fragmented for them or chaotic for them, like as similar to Aries. But I feel like they both will propel forward because of this.
I think so too. It's interesting because they're like the new, they're like the babies. They're the baseline of the zodiac, right? So Aries is like the natural state of all zodiac. They're naturally Taurus in the second house. They're naturally Gemini. So they rule with the natural order of the zodiac of Western astrology. And Librans are the opposite, the anti, right? But it's interesting that those primaries are now getting major upgrades here in the new era, because they really were. Libra and Aries were like sort of the icons, the Barbie and Kens of the past 5,000 years, basically, right? So interesting stuff. But we have to talk about other things, brother. For one, let's talk here about some stuff going on in the news, just some headlines happening during the astrology. We want our opinion on it, psychically or whatever. One, Epstein accusers has speak outside of Congress today. What do they speak about? Do you want to find out? I don't know.
I mean, this is also during this time because like I said, Virgo. When we get into Virgo season, a lot of people will be using their voice, using their voice and speaking out for their truth, and that's what they're doing. These accusers are coming out saying that if the government does not reach the files, then they're creating their own list. They know, and so they're demanding that they do so. Otherwise, they will come out about it. And so they actually held a press conference today about that. So
that's cool.
I think that's actually very awesome that they're stepping forward. It's courageous, and again, it fits Virgo season. It fits this Virgo season. Standing up, using your voice, and saying what your truth is. So that's powerful to me that they're doing that, and courageous that they're all showing their faces. They're and some mentioned a couple names. Some mentioned our current president and also Clinton. So now, like I said a couple episodes, I want to clarify that Clinton was on the logs, but I didn't feel he was heavy engaged with the pedo stuff. But all these people who are still involved still turned a blind eye to these things, and they're, to me, equally guilty because they knew what was going on, whether they participated in it or not, and so they need to be held accountable because they basically enabled the whole deal. So, I think this is an amazing, kind of checkmate energy to put to the government, saying if you don't release it, we will. So that's amazing.
That's interesting. I look at it as Uranus and Gemini. Like the information will be forced out, right? Like you're not going to, Uranus
Right.
has just retrograded. So what's interesting about Uranus is inside out. So it's like when it's going forward, it's actually setting things up, setting you up, setting you up, setting you up. So it's
Right.
like it's like planting little like Easter eggs that's gonna kick
Right.
your ass with. And then retrogrades, it starts Easter egging. And here's the Easter eggs. Like, oh, you don't want to release the list of the Epstein people? Well, then we're just
Right.
gonna come forward and do it. We're gonna override you. It's like, oh shit,
Right. Yep.
so boom, 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 Easter egg. So we're gonna see a fireworks show as Uranus like shimmies down, the Aquarius line or the Gemini line, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
releases a lot of thought. The other thing too is Uranus has gone up to step 1 Gemini, and that's it. So that means the mind. So basically, the mind has had grip. We've had, in this last age, our mind has had grip on us, and that's because religion, organized religion, has pushed our mind to like think this way, only this way, and otherwise you're a sinner. And then science has said, no, if you can't prove it, it doesn't exist. So our mind's been trapped in a box. But
Sure.
Uranus going to 1 says that, oh, now our creativity is open. That's about it. Shit, that's it. As soon as you give the kids colored chalk, oh my God, it's going to flow. Everything's going to just flower. The point is like the human race has been already at just step 1 of Uranus at 1. That's enough to change the world because now the mind is bored and wants something else. And it's just hungry for something else. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. Plus, I think we're still a lot of information that was tied up. Uranus and Gemini, I think now this retrograde, we're going to see a lot of results of, what wasn't successful, as far as they were training information. Oh, we can't. Okay. Well, then we're just going to tell the public. So you see all the results of not getting what they want. Going to the, the Epstein thing. I don't know if people understand. It's like, first of all, shame on the people who got on the plane. That was dumb. That was stupidly dumb. But from what I understand is, I don't know if they got, I don't know. We have to hear the stories because I think some of them were coerced. I think some of them were like, hey, it's this hot party island. And so you get there and it's like, you serve children, they made them know. Like, yeah. So I think to some degree they've been bullied a little bit. They've been pushed a little bit. Not everyone is like a tongue out of their mouth, pet. I think that, but we have to just be reasonable and look at everything consciously, reasonably,
Right.
and like, the real spectrum of it, not sensationalize it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's layers to this. All because someone's on the flight log doesn't mean they're guilty, right? But also, to me, a lot of them who are on the flight logs may not be as guilty, but they turn a blind eye. To me, that's guilty, and keeping that a secret is guilty for me. And so,
yeah.
But, and I think, especially with Ghislaine Maxwell, saying that, oh, she didn't see inappropriate behavior with Trump. It's like, we're going to believe a sex offender here, sex trafficker, and they were best friends with Trump. Like, I mean, come on now. Like, it's just all this charades going on,
That stuff I don't do. I mean, I would do everything to save myself too. Like, I mean, who wouldn't? Like, that's just human nature. Any human probably in this watching this show would probably lie at that point and just do whatever you can to get off. I mean, most people would just at the end of the day could not stand it. It's an interesting thing. I had an interesting question, by the way. Oh, I've heard, by the way, I'm just gonna put out there and be very careful that there's really intelligence that actually was that Epstein was actually part of another country's intelligence system, another country.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. To me, like, remember I challenged him a long time in LOL, and he said he didn't kill himself.
Right. Yeah, he got him in the shower or something.
Yeah, he came in, and so, but they were also. It's like he's there's a web. He's the center of this web of connection. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was affiliated with other intelligence, and that would not surprise me at all. People like that have that power that can source and traffic through all these, pipelines, so to speak. That's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it is. It's actually just surprising who it is. And actually, my guy just told me do not say it, so I'm not going to.
Don't.
All right,
yeah, it's better we don't mention
it. Strong no on that one. Strong no. Interesting. So, secondly, Ghislaine Maxwell denied seeing inappropriate behavior. We saw that one already. The next headline was Atlas object coming toward Earth, ruled out as not a comet. Okay, not a comet. Some suspect it's aliens. Well, first of all, I don't know if aliens move that fucking slow. Like, from what I understand, it's like, ding, they're there. It's like a microwave oven. They're just there.
Well, yeah, I just think they think it's a piece from an alien ship or a piece from, some sort of alien technology. I think they're speculating, but are we supposed to do speculation, or are they going to tell us what they found? So I love that they leave this gray area zone there for us instead of really investigating it. But there's so much stuff in the ethers, in the cosmos, that we just don't know. So, I guess a simple way to call it is alien because it's foreign to us. But my vibe on it, I'm like, there's always that type of residue. It could be alien turd for all we know that was dumped out of a ship that they let out. So it could be so many different things. But I just think things like this that aren't concrete are just kind of just funny and cheeky to me.
I sense it's all part of the bigger campaign to disclose. I sense that there's probably more spaceship junk and trash on the dark side of the moon than there is out there in space. I think there's a whole bunch of the bottom of the ocean. There's a lot of stuff. There's an article that came out that said, without a doubt, we have spaceships getting into water, said the Navy. So they're all coming forward with it now, and we're all sort of, we're all used to it. I think it's a bluff that they're worried about our opinion. The world about a chaotic. They're worried about chaos happening because we find out about it. No, I mean, that would have happened if we watched ET, if that was a problem. That's not the problem. I think the real problem is that the government knows the aliens are going to call them on their shit, and that the aliens will be like, and did you know your government is doing, sorry, aliens got to go now. I think the Americans are going to sweep them off the stage with the whole Hulk thing. It's like, at the end of the day, like, they have all kinds of awareness, and I think we've got a lot of secrets, and I think that's what our governments are afraid of, that they can be outed.
Yeah. Right. Look, I just think it's to keep the constant idea and consciousness that alien life force, because it's going to be introduced in the span of the next 5 years. And so for me, when I hear these things, I'm like, oh my God, we're still so behind on the alien stuff. Like, it's, so for me, it's like, okay, and, but I think for me, it's more about keeping people's consciousness used to the idea of extraterrestrial alien, life force. And this way, when we do actually have contact by 2030, it could be between now, 2028 and 2030. I get those kind of brackets of timelines that when there actually is contact, we'd be like, well, duh, we're prepared for it. So I just feel like it's more like preparation with a lot of these articles for human consciousness. Preparation.
I think it's all preparation H. Preparation H.
No, not preparation H.
Yes, it is. It's for hemorrhoids. And then India led by Modi, who's a Virgo. Russia led by Putin, who's a Libran, and China led by Xi Jinping, is a Gemini. All met, I guess, recently. So India. So what do you get when you have basically a Virgo, a Gemini, and a Libran in a room?
Confusion.
Yeah, I don't know. Or a supercomputer.
He went that away.
That's some deep processing, though. I mean, those are all big thinkers. I mean, they're strategists in their own way. I would say, I don't know. They're all strategists. That's for damn sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just to me, I don't know what else to speak about that other than their meeting. Okay, until we find out what they're meeting about and what their agenda is, then we can read on that. But I just think that,
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, because I don't even know what they don't even say what they met. Okay, great. So, maybe I'm naive or ignorant to what that topic is about primarily, but
I know what it's about. They're creating it. I mean, the rumor is there's a new currency coming out that they're going to compete with the American dollar and try to bring us down. Like that they're going to combine the economic forces of India, China, and of course Russia, and the three will create this super ruble or something. And
it won't be successful in the way that they're deeming it to be. It's funny because I was trying to figure out what the story is about, and I kept seeing currency. So it makes sense in my mind. I was seeing cryptocurrency logo, like the Bitcoin. But so they're probably trying to create their own, currency. I don't think it's going to be as successful as they think it will be. I don't think it's going to top America. So it just feels like a nothing burger to me. This meeting.
Yeah. Oh, the meeting, it's probably it's necessary. I'm sure all three didn't want to go. You know what I mean? Like all three, like, oh God, Putin, these us talk, Leon, shut up, and whatever. But I do feel that they have a plan, and here's the thing: they're trying to usurp the Fed. Right? They're trying to usurp the Fed. The American dollar is the number one dollar.
Right.
A lot of this because we forced the Saudis and all the oil to go through dollars, and that's a big reason why the dollar is so propped up is because of that. The dollar is very what's the word, precious, and also vulnerable. And so I think if one thing is going to show us, who knows if it takes off, but it's going to show us how vulnerable we really are on a fiscal level and how unprepared we are, having given all of our power to the richest families in the world to open a bank. Okay, so not a smart move on our part, but we will learn the easy way, I guess. We always learn the easy way, right? We're America.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, the dollar is going to be, converted to the digital dollar. So that's the end goal for America, is a digital dollar.
Yeah,
and
it's called BRICS. Yeah, according to Jason Cole here, BRICS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, speaking of the dollar and the power of the dollar, we have got to take a commercial break here before we go, and we'd like to hear from our sponsors. So please keep streaming. We'll be right back.
Aloha! I'm Mary, and I'm inviting you to experience the mystical world of the tarot with me. As a tree-hugging dirt worshiper, a retired wildlife biologist, and a sprite of the forest, my readings take you into the realms of elemental creativity to unearth a deeper awareness for those big decisions that you have in life. The first 50 viewers to email me with the coupon code below and book a reading will receive 50% off that reading. I can't wait to see what the cards have in store for you. Mahalo nui loa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Brazelton, the architect of the program and founder of Sage Prosperity Partners. I am excited for you to start your journey in having prosperity in a way you've never had it before. Join me this fall for a couple of different cohorts that are starting. I am the facilitator. For a limited time, Serious Joy members will receive a discount code below, and I look forward to seeing you this fall.
All right. Wow, that was cool. That's nice of her to give that to us. And she's awesome. She just did the basically we do a lecture. So we have Unite the Light has its own board of light that meets every month, twice a month. And one of the meetings is always like a professional comes in and talks inside, things about organizations. She came in to the first presentation, it was fantastic actually. And she just has a lot of insight into conscious capitalism and where it's going. So thank you for that. We appreciate her. Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah,
Great.
We're very visionary. So that said, we're supposed to play a game, but I think we should skip ahead now because we're actually 20 minutes left of the show. And one of the things that we want to the topic of how we can be fresh and unbothered, especially in these historically uncertain times. Like, how do we keep our energy clean? Protecting your aura in a noisy world is the topic here. How do you protect your aura in a noisy world? And what can we do about it? So we have some energetic hygiene tips that they're asking for us to say here, buddy. So what do you think about as far as energetic hygiene? First of all, the idea of energetic hygiene, what is it? What is it? And what does it mean to you?
Well, first of all, it comes with awareness. First, you have to understand where you stink, and what kind of stench is lingering around you. And so a lot of times we can get used to a stench, so to speak, and being very figurative, obviously, that we get used to those negative energies. So we need to be aware and understand, where we're feeling deprived in our lives. This is where the grounding comes in. So being aware of what's depriving of us and where and who is causing conflict, what ideas are causing conflict. Are we living in contradiction? So we have to be very objective enough to be aware of these, I would say, imbalances and also deprivations that are, again, I would say the residual energy from our past a lot of times will hinder us, and we overburden, we over encumber ourselves because the past residual energy that's unresolved. So having that awareness, we could say to ourselves, well, you know what? I'm still carrying this idea. I'm still carrying this, logic of deprivation, and it's actually not serving me any longer. So we can be very objective and understand the shit that's going in your life is the messenger. Is the creation of where you've been going, from this whole time from your past. So awareness is key number one, to understand, do I smell? Where do I smell? Is there a smell?
Yes. Well, we're talking about energetic hygiene. So we're talking about being able to keep your energy clean. And you're saying people need to, first of all, aware if that's even a thing. That's what you're saying, right? So,
I was being figurative. I was being very figurative about saying that, we do carry energy from others, carry energy from people who influence us, and we have to do that unconsciously. We get used to that quote unquote stench. I was being very metaphoric, and so we have to understand, through our deprivations, where that energy. Because we're saying hygiene and cleaning up, so I was being figurative that way. But when we look deeper and have that awareness to understand the influences in our life, both positive and negative, we can understand what needs to be cleaned.
I know that I am a disruptor when it comes to my energy at times. Like if you sit next to me, if you're around me, my knees are always bouncing. I'm always moving. I'm like, an insect on sugar. Like I'm just constantly going. I know that is a nuisance. That's probably something that's, bad energetic hygiene. And what that comes from is the fact that if I want to ground that energy, I've got to run about 20 miles, I've got to do some significant, work on my body to get my body to just chill out. And so it's a hummingbird sort of problem. But for grounding for me, how I ground, so how do I ground my energy? The barefoot in the park kind of thing. Yeah, a little bit, but really it's usually it really is actually, taking a shower. Actually, a shower will like just ground me, like bring me back down to like, I guess, a net zero charge. Also will ground me is like running. If I run, I will ground in about 20 minutes, 22 minutes. I mean, completely grounded, where all my energy is like now just humming. How do you ground?
Well, doing what I said before, the intellectual work, but then also sometimes you just have to be in a better environment. To me, it's the lake. To me, it's Lake Tahoe.
Water.
That's where, I mean, that's very grounding for me. When I put my feet in that water, as cold as it is, and surrounded by the mountains and the trees and the, crystal clear Caribbean water, that's just grounding for me. Because that's just all the components that I look for. So, and I think that when we know ourselves, we understand the components that we do need and how to actually allow that to ground us and to, be in that essence and in sync of that vibration. So, but that's self-awareness to understand that too. But like I said before, in order to understand, because you're aware, what grounds you, some people don't know because they're so contaminated by mom and dad's perspective or opinion that they've had for so long, or a relationship. And so we got to be in tune and find out what really we're attracted to. And then we could get there with that grounding physically. It was once, Christopher, was once the desert, the dry desert. And then, I'm not in the high desert in Reno, but it's different. But once it was, I needed that, and it could change. We could cycle through what grounds us.
Well, the ocean definitely cleanses. Now I'm echo with you for some reason. I definitely like the ocean will cleanse me. I feel like the ocean will like negative ion like cleanse me of some sort of a charge I have. So I'll feel sort of like what's the word? I don't know, tranquilized by the ocean. It tranquilizes me, and I'm feeling very tranquil after it's all over. Even if I don't do anything, I'm like tired. I'm tranquil. I have to take a nap. Like something with the ocean just kind of purring me to sleep like a cat. So there is that. But honestly, I don't usually try to ground. I usually use the energy and channel into stuff. That's what I do. What about breath work? Do you do breath work, dude? Yeah.
Well, I want to say too about grounding really quickly too. The sun is also very grounding. Sometimes Spirit's like, you need to just like bask in the sun for 15 minutes and like receive that download, that data from the sun. So that could be extremely grounding. And as you know, if you're in the sun too, that could be tiresome too. But I just want to add that into the grounding because that's a big one for me. Just like deliberate sun, receptivity. But breath work. I'm having a sinus infection that I'm getting over for the past couple of weeks. So clearly I have to work on breath work. But I know there's times when I get into meditation or times where I feel stuck and I just calm it down. I tend to do that through hypnosis audios that I've created, frequency meditation, to allow it to kind of, slow me down so I can breathe further. So, I think that also helps the oxygen flow a lot better in the brain. And when it slows down, it's like you could observe things a lot better. So breath work is important. It's something I need to practice more though, I have to say, to be honest.
Well, I do breath work like in yoga classes and stuff like that. But for some reason, I don't know. I don't like slowing down my breath. The bull in me just wants to breathe like the way I want to breathe. But it does work, but it's so nano. It's so controlling over my body. I have a hard time simplifying down to that level, which is why I should probably do it, kind of thing. I do think I need more breath work as I look at stuff. There was a time when breath work involved marijuana, like as a kid, but when I was, in my 20s, but it's energetically, it's hard to read me actually energetically. Someone's saying to me, I look like I'm falling asleep or I'm tired. I'm actually not tired. I'm between worlds today. Like today's been a freaking between world day where I've been pulled in and out. Some in the comments, they're like, he looks exhausted. I keep getting pulled in. I keep getting pulled into the astral plane, man. Like I literally get pulled into conversations. I'm having a hard time staying grounded. Let's say in Virgo, this particular Virgo has been difficult. Where I will literally like doze off, like, in weird places. But I think I'm being pulled into higher vibration meetings and stuff, honestly. But breathwork to me is like, meh, I'll do it. I know I should do it. I wish it'd be more fun. What about water rituals? Water rituals is the next thing on energetic hygiene.
Well, and I want to preface too, everyone can find their own thing. We don't have to do all of it, right? And so some people might need the breath work and might need that too. True. I do need it because yeah, exactly. And so I'm like you, like I'm always energetic. I've got to do this, going to do this, going to create this, going to create this. So I'm like you. So that's my joy. I feel like I'm living in joy quite often in that sense, of the excitement of wanting to do. But with water rituals, I mean, sure. I mean, if we think that the element of water is very healing and it's very revitalizing too, but also, it's recalibrating, it's cleansing. cleansing. And so I think in the sense of using those water rituals can help us to get our mind, intellect in that rhythm that can go with the flow in that sense, So for sure. Again, a water ritual is me is going to Lake Tahoe again. That's a water ritual. So other people can do other things with that too. And with hearing the water in the background, I personally, my partner, we sleep with like the water, the rain stuff. And I tell you, like, it really is, it helps you sleep. If you just put like the warning water in the background, or it really does help with sleep. So that's what I do that for.
Makes you want to go pee, but it's okay.
That
Now,
too.
yes,
that too. I'm always peeing in the night.
My family's all we sleep with the storm, like the rainstorm. Like mom, like if you go through the house, like mom's got a rainstorm. Everyone's got rainstorms going on in the house, like all from our iPhones or whatever, playing through the night. Yeah, I like that. I like that tranquil sound as well. For me, water. I'm a bull. I'm okay with water. I'll dip my calf in. I'll dip a little toe part in. I don't like a lot of water personally. I love a shower. Like I love the royal shower, but where it's all luxurious. That's the Leo in me, though. I think the Leo rising. I have a lot of Leo in me. So reminds me of that scene in Wizard of Oz, rub dub dub, and the lions getting all the stuff. That's kind of me. Okay, what about visualization and meditation? Do you use visualization and meditation in order to ground or to clean your energy?
I would say this, like before I was so like, I had to be so deliberate about it. Now on the stage now, because I'm always like channeling every day with my clients, and it's a switch is always on for me now, right? So I want to tell people, like, if you're not there yet, start being intentional with meditation. I always say people just go into meditation and they think they're being spiritual and something's going to happen. Like, be intentional with your meditation. I'm going to meditation because I want to find more about my past life. I'm going to meditation. I want to find out more about what's going on in my current circumstances. I'm going to meditation because I want to resolve unresolved trauma. So always have a specific purpose in meditation. And once I started doing that, it taught me myself how to just like do it naturally without having to like sit down and close my eyes and do all that. I'm naturally a visual person. It's funny because I create music, but I'm always visual with music. So visualization or being even clairvoyance or having clairvoyance helps you to kind of create it in a physical way, because we're very visual and everything's tangible in the physical world. So I feel like visualization is just the tangible version in your intellect that can make things more rational for you, that can be an idea. So it's very important to visualize because of that. It makes it more tangible for us.
I agree. I feel that visualization is actually communication of spirit. So, we speak in pictures. Imagination is like, it's basically Pictionary. Right. We play Pictionary with heaven. We tell heaven this is what it looks like. Draw me one of these, and heaven makes it. So, or reality makes it. So I think it's envisioning and picturing and imagining. That's all language to. In fact, I get, my guides send me symbols and pictures all the time. It's like, it's very alien looking as far as different things I get. And I know exactly what they mean. It's like flashcards. So it's a language, I think pictures are, and it's funny how we're kind of going back to that. Like, I think it's funny, the emojis, I look at Egypt and like, Jesus, they're all just these symbols, and that must have been a bitch to write a letter, it must have been a bitch to write a letter, in Egypt. But now with emojis and stuff, it's in like, TTL and all this stuff. It's like, we're becoming kind of like emoji based Egyptians again, where symbols are mean all these words, right?
True. Yeah. It's very true.
Be right. All the BRBs. I think about myself. Oh my gosh, my poor mom. Like, I don't think she understands when we write BRB and stuff like that to her. I don't think she gets it. Maybe.
When LOL first came out, I thought it meant lots of love. So I remember someone was like, "Oh, my grandmother just passed away." I'm like, "Oh, LOL," and they go,
"Oh my God,
funny." I'm like, "No, like LOL, like lots of love." I'm like, that doesn't mean that, Scott. That was back in AOL days. I'm like,
wow.
Oh, fuck, but yeah, I also want to say about visualization. A lot of times when you get good at that, you can actually be more psychic because you can receive the visuals and also create the visuals. So it's like imagination. I always say you can create and receive in that imaginative space. So when you practice visualization, it can really help with your clairvoyance and intuitive and psychic abilities too.
Yeah, and meditation for me, I cannot sit down and just stop my mind. I think we've been misled and misguided with that. I don't think that's the case. I think the mind has to be active, and it's actively listening and looking and searching for things and observing. So I think the mind has a job, is to observe. But honestly, I tend to meditate like staring at the window. I'll like stare at the window and like be like lose consciousness and like I don't know where to go. But I come back a little refreshed. So I do little pocket meditations all the time, I think. Or I will meditate on just like, to me, to meditate is like when I read a client. When I pull up their energy, I'll sit there and I meditate on it, which is like I just kind of put myself next to them and just kind of like, I just kind of like take it in. I meditate on their energy and I get a whole reading from it. So to me, meditating is just like focusing everything on that vibration and only that vibration. and getting a signature from it, getting a read, right? Interesting. Yeah. What about crystals? Do you use crystals deliberately, Scott, to help you with your energy hygiene?
Excuse me. I don't personally. I never resonated. I think it's another tool. I know a lot of people that swear by it. But I know a woman. She had like her house was like filled with all these crystals for this and that, and she was always in pain. And so I'm like, how are those crystals working for you? So it depends on the person and their mindset and their knowledge about the crystals. And I think a lot of it can help if they understand how to utilize the elements. That's important to me. If you're just buying crystals because I just want love and nothing's going to happen, get knowledge about what they represent and how to utilize, like an alchemist, those elements and what they represent. And so therefore, yes, I think it could be very, and a lot of it's a placebo effect too, Christopher, in my opinion as well. And there's nothing wrong with that, having a stimulant to get you to, as a placebo, to get you to function the way you want to function. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. Well, I feel that crystals do have an effect, but in ancient Atlantis, they were 5 stories tall. They were not these little bitty things around your neck. Okay, they had they had temples. Like the size of them were gigantic. I'm sure my brain would go cross-eyed in that. I think Palm Springs is surrounded by crystals in the hills. So all the hills have crystals in it. So you're just like, wow, like it takes a lot more than we think. That little penny thing, it's just like it's a mnemonic device. Like, oh yes, I remember. I'm going to focus on that. Although I do think it focuses. I mean, think about a radio has a tiny little crystal to get that radio signal. So crystals are pretty powerful no matter what size they are.
Right, and I didn't mean to sound dismissive. I'm just saying that's what if we get the knowledge about the elements of such and how to utilize them, then yes. But like today's traditional, like you go to a crystal shop and just buy these shards for $100. Usually, you're not gonna vibrate or have any effect on those. Understanding, those. Remember the crystal shop we went into Austin for United Lights years ago?
Yeah.
They had that big, like looking like womb looking thing. Like I felt charged on that thing a lot.
Oh yeah,
that thing was like
tall. Yeah, opened up as like all this purple goo coming out, like purple crystals.
Right,
those are cool.
Right.
See, if you can't get that, that's the size you need, I think, for crystals. And I think they do have an effect. Like for instance, I keep a salt light on all over my house, like little salt lights, those little cheap ones. But the vibration of the salt light keeps the whole house like calm. Like the salt is calm. It's calming. And it cleans the air. From my eyes.
It's an element. Yeah,
I totally deal with that. Exactly. What about movement? Oh, we cut her. I skipped ahead.
That's okay. We can skip a few.
Sacred smoke and scent. How does that cleanse the energy? Now, I am a person who will go through. In fact, I was just thinking, to go ahead and sage the house. I will sage the house, maybe 3 times a month, probably every 10 days, or it's just like, oh God, it's getting, the energy hygiene in here is nasty. Just from
elements. Yeah, the elements are very powerful, and for me, I'm an incense burner like crazy.
Me too. It's burning out.
And I like candles too, but I definitely. When you sage, you're supposed to smudge with like an incense, right? Because saging kind of neutralizes the energy space, but then you want to like smudge it with like an incense or something of that reflects your energy more. So I love cedar wood, and so for me, I've always done that as a ritual. And it's almost like I feel like we will resonate with certain tools because my ability is I can shift energy spaces. I can change energy spaces wherever I'm at. And if I really intend to, it comes natural to me and I can affect people in that way. So that's why I gravitate to a lot to incense because I know it's like I'm deliberately changing the energy space. So it really is what resonates with you. And all is not going to resonate with one person, and that's not intended to. But for me, the sacred smoke and scent is definitely one of my go-tos for sure.
I like smoke. Smoke is cool. I like incense a lot. In fact, I go with like rose incense. I just lit earlier. Rose is the highest vibration of flower there is.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you that incense really does make you feel. I'll describe it higher on life. Like things brighten up. I felt better. Sage really does clear out my house. Like if I have something icky in the house, sage, it feels like it's just been Lysoled, in a spiritual way. It's like, I can breathe again. You can feel this. I can feel it's lighter. I can feel it. So those I feel more than anything. I think smoke is like a number one. Plus you can see it and smell it. So it's just hitting a lot of those, senses. Yeah.
Well, another way that we could be grounded is actually to see someone who's insightful and someone who can help you navigate through future circumstances and what's lying ahead. So tomorrow, my live show, I'm actually talking about and giving you the energetic forecast for September. So I was out last week, so I didn't do my live show. That's my first live show I didn't do in like a year and a half. But I'm back and we'll do live one-on-one readings as well. We're doing a collective read as well too, and kind of giving you the September energy forecast and what to expect ahead in detail. So join me tomorrow as every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're too bashful and don't want to have a one-on-one read on live, you can also book a one-on-one personal session with me at scottcruzpm.com.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.
All right.
And you know, I'm working on new music right now too. That's where my heart has been going, working on new music. I have like a list of songs to finish. So that was one of my songs. So you'll start hearing some new stuff. Cool. No more 80s synth pop. I went through 80s synth pop little phase, but now I'm going kind of back to my rock phase. So
No, I'm with you though, because I had that in my childhood. You know, the keyboards came out when I was growing up, like the Casio keyboard stuff.
Me too.
You know, like you just like play around, make the little rhythms, and you still push buttons to play the piano.
Right.
So on our topic of energetic hygiene and keeping our hygiene clean and energy clean, you know, I feel like to some degree, if I'm at all rude, it's that my energy sometimes can blast into the room and sort of take over. So that's something where I have some energy hygiene issues. But overall, I mean, I don't like my energy to be poor. I mean, I look at energy completely. I'm a person that will dress, colorize, scent with some cologne, even though it's supposed to be bad for you. I don't care. I like to smell good. You know, I come in with the full like, you know, presentation of all five senses. And to me, that's the manipulation of the energy is through all these, like, you know, from perfume to color to everything else. To me, that's management of the energy. And that's how I manage the energy most of the time. What about cord cutting? Do you cord cut, buddy? Do you ever cord up?
I fucking can't stand that stuff, the cord cutting stuff. Look, we all have. This is my perspective on that. Like, you're not literally cutting cords of people, and you know, I always say you have to resolve why there's a psychic connection with someone, and resolve the intellectual trauma or the intellectual emotional, you know, deprivations from such, because people come in our lives, experiences come in our lives for a reason, to help us to grow and to learn, to evolve. We want to look back and say, you know what, that was a shit relationship, but I grow from it. I needed that in my life. It's a notch in my belt. So the cord cutting stuff never works, because people can close a psychic cord, but the unresolved will just naturally open it back up again. And so then they're still feeling a psychic connection because they didn't resolve the intellectual residue. So for me, and then people say, oh, cord cutting is misunderstood. I'm like, no, it's not. Well, it's for people so they don't suck your energy. And I say, well, then why is your energy open to be sucked in the first place? Why are you being a people pleaser? Why are you giving away your energy so much, you know, and opening up to those channels so much? So there's an intellectual processing. So the way to truly cord cut is actually to accept the connections that you've made and understand they're part of your story. They're here for a reason. We can't just bypass and like cord. I mean, that's a bunch of bullshit to me. I'm not down with that cord cutting crap.
I have to say, in the cord cutting, I always thought I was doing it for the person wanting me to do it. It was really for me, like, come on, I'm gonna cut your cords. Like, okay, that's got them, you know. But it was like braiding hair, you know, like it was like, okay. But I always thought it was like symbolic, anyways. It was like, okay, symbol, you get that, you know, like, so whoever's on the other end of the cord, you understand? I'm cutting you, you know. I feel like you're sending a message down the cord, like, F you know, get off of my cord. So I think that's really what it is, like telling that person, you know, you're blocked, you know, and that's what it kind of is. It's you are blocked.
Yeah, right, but if you feel a compulsive energy with the person and there's that psychic connection and you say you're blocked, your intellectual unresolved will start feeling like, I'm starting to miss them again, or I keep thinking about them, I don't know why. And so it's like you haven't fully resolved the circumstance. So boom, it's going to open up again by itself. I don't like to call it a cord. I call it a psychic pipeline. Oh. And so how you go about resolving that psychic pipeline will tell you if you're ready to move on or not. So the cord cutting thing is just a mystical practice for people to feel like they can shut down and disconnect from their experiences, and I don't think that's healthy.
Interesting. I don't have that much opinion. What about boundaries? How do boundaries help keep you clean?
Well, if you're setting boundaries and you understand how to intellectually grow and resolve from your circumstances, you won't need the cord cut, right? So boundaries is to me the true essence of cord cutting. And so, and I think that when you do set the parameters, you set the boundaries, and you understand what boundaries to create because of your past experiences, you could have a psychic pipeline saying, you know what, they treat me like crap, but I understand where they're coming from, and I understand what I did to involve myself, that I understand what I need now for myself, my value, my worth, all that great stuff. You set proper boundaries. So to me, that's the true essence of what people try to do with cord cutting. But that's cord cutting is without the work.
In step astrology, which is what I teach, and I've channeled, like, the very first step is step 0, which defines the boundaries. So we all should not even be operating without boundaries, and boundaries are where it stops and where it starts. Now, I was completely idiotic to this. I just jumped in face first, and usually got myself all sorts of messed up with energy. I now use boundaries quite often, and I invoke them like right before. So I'll get in the car and be like, okay, here's my boundaries. We ain't going to hit a car. Ain't going to be puppy coming. These are all things that are not going to happen. But I say it in a positive. You can't say a not in a boundary. Okay, it doesn't work. So you have to be positive about what will happen and not anything. There's a little cue there. Don't do that. But in essence, I will boundaryize anything. And if I have like a little worry, like, oh, I'm wondering about this, I'll be like, okay, boundary, that may not happen. This will happen, not that, or this will happen. As predominant, this will be the predominant thing that happens. So I just boundary out and protect that, and just send more energy to the boundaries all the time. Now, boundaries.
When you set those boundaries, you don't have to worry about cord cutting. Now, some person said they cord cut when they travel. It's okay to understand if you're sponging. That's important. It's a different thing. If you're sponging energy and you're picking up on energy, you can collect the residue energy, and so you understand how to clean that. That's not cord cutting. That's saying I'm absorbing, I'm sponging on energy, so I got to clean that out, release that. That's different, and that's where a ritual can work for that process of the energy clearing. But I think people confuse the two sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you. People do. So yeah, boundaries are the magic. Boundaries add space and time. Boundaries control things, and don't forget you can create a boundary in space or time. So you can say, I'm not going to think about this until next Tuesday. And then suddenly your mind is free until Tuesday. It's crazy. What about movement?
Linda has a good point. I only cord cut the taggers and the low voltage tape. Exactly. Thank you, Linda.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't have time to cut, plus I like staying in touch. I'm kidding. Now, what about movement? Here's one of the last ones we have. We're going to wrap up the show here in a second. Movement. How does movement clean your energy?
Movement's a powerful, powerful tool because, a lot of times when you're in fear of something, or people are in a mode of it being in their head, they stay frozen. And so that contaminates your energy space. If you do something to create movement, you can allow yourself intellectually to form a new idea. You put yourself in a different environment, more inspiration. You know what I'm saying? It's like, think of like a bowel movement. Like if you're constipated, nothing's happening. You can't release anything. You get things moving, you push it out, you purge it out, then you could be clear, you could be lighter to see things a little differently. So intentional movement when you're in a phase of deprivation or trepidation, or in some sort of fear, intentional movement can help you to like maybe resolve the intellectual, I would say irrational perspective that you have on things. I love that. There's a lot of times like, I just got to get out and do something, shift the energy, or like go take a ride somewhere, or just walk around. And if it clears, it moves. Think about all that energy stuck to you, right, Christopher? You move around and someone just starts falling off on its own, so.
Right. I agree. Movement actually changes everything. So movement changes the energy. Just think of like the sound, the Doppler effect, like the train. Right. That effect of the train is literally that the train's moving so fast, the sound waves start to bend, and you end up having that like skew of sound. I feel like that's the same thing with energy from spirit. If you're moving fast, I think you're bending whatever spiritual waves are. I definitely feel better moving. I don't feel better still. I don't feel good still. I feel better moving. So I'm always moving something. Because it's how I keep things going. But I know that movement is step 9 in the step system. So if you don't move, you don't do something, it will not manifest. It will not materialize. So movement is a necessary ingredient to creation. It's not just, you have to do more than make a vision board. You have to actually, parade it around.
Well, the less you move, the more time you experience, right? The more you move, the less time you experience. So we have to understand. A lot of people they're bored, and so they're not moving. So they experience this, this eternity of time in a sense. But when people are just moving, doing something, time speeds up. And so we have to understand the simple laws of physics of how we experience things, in that way. So I
like moving. I move on the phone when I talk. I pace and all that stuff. I'm that guy. I like to move all the time, and I moved probably 20 times in my life too. So it's lots of moving. Yeah. Energy stuff. Well, I think that's all we have for today. If I'm not mistaken, looking at our director here, it looks like it. We're at the 1 hour mark. Well, it's been a show about energy cleansing. And, I think y'all, I would take it upon yourself to maybe do a little bit of one of these things, because we got a lot of crazy energy coming off of all the world right now. I've made a couple of trips outside my town of Palm Springs, and every time I go outside my town, I get stuck with like energy from that other town, and I have to kind of shake it off because it's very clean here in Palm Springs with the Crystal Mountains. If you're not in a clean zone like that, I recommend do regular cleaning. And I'm in LA, and I had to do cleaning every day. It was like no ritual with cleaning myself, because it's like, Jesus, picking up all this stuff. Very interesting. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing, I think, when we move forward. And next week, by the way, we're going to be talking about breaking up. Breaking up with busy. Is it time to get no longer be busy anymore? Is the hustle culture dead? Right after we said that movement cleans your energy. So what we talk about is the hustle culture dead? Interesting. I don't really want to answer that question, but I think that no matter what the case is, everyone's about to get really busy. I'll leave this to the prediction. The Earth is about to shift in a big way. Like it's like about to pop.
September's are always busy for me. Like I always have major events and something major happen in September all the time. And I feel like this year collectively, September is going to be starting of a busy month. We did all that preparation during summer to get the movement going. So now it's really kind of that living in that busy moment. So yeah, I love the topic of hustle culture, because I think as in a spiritual community, we could redefine what that really means. Not the fact you're trying to get views and likes and all that stuff, but what it really means to actually do it in a proper way, and what's the way that's not serving of us. So that's a good topic next week.
It would be the 70s song, Do the Hustle. Do the hustle. Yeah, definitely. All right, folks. Well, we're going to hustle with you next week. We appreciate it. Send some healing vibration to his chest, please, and we will see you in 1 week with more. Until then, we love you. Lead out loud.
Good night, guys.
So what kind of healing what do you do for your take home feeling cool?
So I have water with oil of oregano in here, and then I have throat coat with like local honey in here. Oh. So yeah, and this has been stubborn, but it dries it up, clears it out, makes you get it out. So
yeah, that's good.
And then we have like a huge humidifier in our room. It's like 4 foot tall humidifier. And air purifiers in the house, so we have a lot going on. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I like eucalyptus too.
Bring on the balance. Coming up this Wednesday is our monthly Moon Wisdom. Join host Robbie Hunt in preparing for the Libran moon energies that follow the final Virgo new moon this month, only on SiriusJoy.com.